Ed, I want to ask you, because in the trying motif, tell us about a guy named Wadi Gaitan.
There's a guy named, Wadi Gaitan. He's a 24-year-old, recently hired by Republicans. He'd worked for Mitt Romney's campaign. It's his job to be the Spanish-speaking spokesperson for House Republicans. He gets them on TV, onto radio shows, and he serves as a bit of a Spanish tutor to a growing number of Republican lawmakers who are not Hispanic, but who either learned Spanish growing up or after college or as part of their job, and are willing to bite the bullet and go on Univision, Telemundo, CNN and Español, Spanish radio shows, and share the GOP message.
Con el congresista Trey Radel de la Florida. Congresista, gracias.
Representante Kathy McMorris Rogers.
Se trata de Mick Mulvaney, uno de los nuevos integrantes del Congreso.
I say, hey, look, I've got to talk about the debt ceiling. Tell me, how do I say debt ceiling in Spanish? Or I need to talk about border security. How do I say border security? And then he lets me know.
Can I just follow up very quickly, Ed?
Yeah.
How do they keep that from being sort of trite? I mean, simply saying debt ceiling in Spanish is not necessarily a winning message for Republicans or for Democrats, for that matter.
The idea is if they show up, if they're playing on that court, at least they're going to get some respect, not only from the Spanish media outlets, but conceivably eventually from viewers to say, hey, you know what? I might not have known that if he hadn't shown up to tell me.
Now, you were talking a little about language, and you wrote a story about this. One of the stories that you mentioned is there was a little bit of a complication with the word sequestration.
That's right.
in Spanish.
Interesting thing, you think sequester, maybe the word in Spanish is secuestrar. Well, that actually means to kidnap somebody in Spanish.
That would complicate
So
things.
Wadi and others had to run around and telling people, look, be careful. We don't want to suggest that Congress is kidnapping people or that President Obama wants to kidnap people. The proper term is recortes automáticos, or automatic cuts. And then they tell them things like it's seguridad fronteriza, which is border security. So that's the type of thing that he does to sort of make sure that, hey, know those words and you'll perhaps earn a little more street cred.
Matt, I want to end on you really quickly. You heard Ed. What do you make of that?
Well, I agree with what Ed has said, that this is an important first step, that they do need to be out there. During the 2012 election, there were many times when the candidate and the surrogates would not even appear on Spanish language television. They would decline interviews, and part of it is just showing up. So they do need to do that and get their face out there, but they're going to have something positive to say. They're going to have something positive and welcoming to say about immigrants, as well as on these other issues, because at the end of the day, it's not just immigration. On many of these other issues, Latino voters are much more working class and middle class voters, and the Republicans are going to have something to say to them.
Matt, Ed, thank you so much for being with us today.
Great to be with you.